all the confounding results in this past election, perhaps the strangest phenomenon was the surprising number of people who voted for Democrats down ballot and then checked off Donald Trump for president. That was the case in New York's 14th district. A number of voters cast their ballot for both Trump and one of the House's most progressive Democrats, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, better known as AOC. The Democratic Party is still reeling from the results. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez is doing something a lot of the D.C. folks aren't doing, which is talking to social media and actually talking to voters to figure out why this happened.
If you voted for Donald Trump and me, or if you voted for Donald Trump and voted Democratic down ballot, I would really love to hear from you. This is not a place of judgment. I'm not going to put your stuff on blast or anything like that or dunk on it. That's like genuinely not the intent here. I actually want to learn from you. I want to hear what you were thinking, and I just want to hear from you.
Such a big move of her. So big. What we need. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is devastated with joy. Ironic, I know. Why her supporters voted Trump. Why? I'm melting, says Alexandria AOC. I'll tell you why many of your supporters voted for Trump. And first, let's hear what some of your supporters said. And also, let's just be reminded that you and Joy Reid are completely underqualified and overpaid for your jobs. Let's watch
what they say.
There's a lot of different things that we saw. I think there's a lot of people. First of all, it's important to note that Democrats, oftentimes when we lose elections, we think that we lost people to Trump. And that is true in circumstances, but they...
No, you think you lost to Trump. Only people who are playing political agenda and trying to get after one particular political opponent rather than voting on policies and looking at what's best for the people. When people are looking at what's best for the people, they don't think that they're voting against Trump or against you. It's not that personal. It's personal on the level of, are these policies going to be good for my family? Are these policies going to help me succeed? Are these policies going to help me to put food on the table? That's quite literally what people are concerned about.
People say, this is why I voted for you and Trump. And some people say this is why I didn't vote or didn't vote top of the ticket.
Right. Skip the top of the ticket, which, by the way, there's been a lot of paranoia about the fact that Democrats were able to win statewide in some places while Kamala Harris lost. And I keep trying to tell people there are voters who go in and either just vote the top, Trump voters who will say, I just want Trump and don't care about Republicans, and the reverse, who say, I'm not voting top of the ticket, but I'll vote everybody else.
Right. And I think we saw some of that happen as well. But when it comes to people who split their ticket, I think a lot of people cited several different things. One is there is universal frustration in this country, much of it, I actually think, justified, that is raging at a political establishment that centers corporate interests, billionaires, and puts their needs ahead of the needs of working Americans. And we know that we can either channel this righteous rage, because there are people whose SNAP was cut off, their child tax credits were cut off, but they're seeing people like Elon Musk getting tax breaks and kissing up to Donald Trump in order to do so.
But they vote for, then why vote for Elon Musk and Donald Trump?
And I think that, of course, is the question.
It makes no sense.
This is what Joy Reid and AOC will never understand. And I'm going to reveal in a moment why they don't understand and will not understand. And it's very, very simple. First, talk about how confused, how utterly devastated and confused they are about why people would vote for Donald Trump. It's because they know why their SNAP benefits were cut off. AOC, it's because they know that millions upon millions, we don't even know how much, was given to immigrants, when we had homeless people dying on the streets of fentanyl, when we had hardworking Americans, business owners losing their businesses and having to go on food benefits and having to go on government assistance because they can't afford to pay back business loans, AOC. But the fact is, you are so disconnected because you've been in government your whole life and then praised for being a person of color and somebody outspoken. So you're completely disconnected from the actual facts. You're so embedded in the propaganda, you can't even hear the truth. And in a moment, you're going to discover even more so why she's completely devastated that people would vote for Trump and her. But she's missing a key thing, which we will talk about.
Part of it has to do with the fact that, and I think we're still in a process of going through the data. It's important to say that.
Yes.
And I actually think that it's important to say that the people who are rushing to say, let me give you my grand theory of what's going on right now.
The problem is you went too woke. Sorry, Kamala Harris was running with Liz Cheney at her side.
First point about where they get this totally wrong. People who are not for war are not all about Liz Cheney. They keep tantalizing with Liz Cheney like she's the carrot. Oh my gosh, look, it's Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney. I'm just completely mesmerized because it's Liz Cheney. No, the people who do want peace don't want Liz Cheney. And yes, she is the woke agenda. She is the person who said she wants to put parents in jail for being late, but she doesn't want to criminalize criminal migrants coming over, sex trafficking and child trafficking our children and the migrant children. She doesn't even care. Kamala doesn't care about that. That is very woke agenda, in my opinion, and obviously the millions of others that voted for Trump. But this is something that they do not get. They think, hey, she's middle America. She's Liz Cheney. Completely don't get it.
Wasn't going quote unquote woke.
If we had an election on November 5th and November 6th, you've got an answer.
Right.
Don't listen to those people.
I agreed.
Do not listen to those people.
Co-sign.
So,
but also something that maybe you caught is that AOC tried to plant the seed. Joy, even, it went over Joy's head. She didn't get the memo on this propaganda insert, but AOC inserted the little seed of, we don't know yet. We're still counting. We're still looking at the data. No, Trump won in a landslide, AOC. There's no going back on that. Even Joy Reid wasn't on board of that. It went way over her head because she's like, oh, we're doing that now? Or we're saying that the data isn't clear yet? That was just a little seed that she was planting. Did you catch that?
I want to say that we should all have the humility of saying this is an ongoing learning process. However, there is something to be said about.
And she tries to give herself all this credit. That's what narcissists do. Oh, we just have to have the humility to give ourselves a scapegoat in case we want to go a different route of cheating, is basically what she was just saying there. And this is why they'll never get it. But it gets worse. She explains further what she thinks of her voters. And I don't know. I think the majority of people woke up to this, but the kind people who responded to her, desperate, devastated, I can't figure out why people that would support me would support Trump. I can't figure out why people would support AOC, but we're going to hear in a moment from her supporters and how it gets even worse, how disillusioned AOC really is.
It doesn't matter that he's lying. He's saying that I'm fighting for you.
He's not lying. The fact that you think, and this is what most Americans woke up to, AOC, is that the fact that you think that you can run a smear campaign on him and everyone's just going to believe you because of the allegations, because you don't like him, because it doesn't fit with your political agenda. People don't like that. And people started looking at, hey, this is what my fridge looks like. Hey, this is what my street looks like. Where it used to be safe, people are dying of fentanyl, or a car is being broken into, or a business is boarded up. Hey, Trump's policies align with fixing these things. Your policies and Kamala's policies, AOC, align with making more of the thing that isn't working abundant, meaning making more crime on the street, making more fentanyl, making groceries a higher price, and then going after the business owners. That's all of your solution attacks the problem, but not at the root of the problem. The root of the problem is high prices, right? Inflation, because of all the regulations and a million different things attack on the farmer, big China owning so much farmland, big pharma, all of the global elites basically trying to own and dominate everything and crushing the farmer. And so then food prices go up and shortages and all sorts of problems with that. But instead of addressing that, you want to further punish the business owner, the grocery store owner, or the farmer. It doesn't make sense. Just like with they're always upset about the women's rights. And they say the most important reason is because if it was rape, then they shouldn't have to have the baby. Fine. With the exceptions, and Trump has said that with the exceptions, and in all 50 states for the first 3 months, you can do that no matter what, and the exceptions, and they never turn away for the health of a mother. That has totally been debunked, but they keep spewing that lie. Fine. But why don't we look at the root of the problem? If you're really worried about the rape, why don't we diminish the number of rapes? And Border Patrol has already released, and Tom Homan has just said that sex trafficking and women being raped and children is up 600%. Instead of going to we need to allow them to have abortions, how about let's stop the rape? And that's kind of the way that they work on everything. Instead of helping businesses to succeed, let's punish the businesses more. Elon Musk employs a lot of people. And no, he's not just getting a tax break. They like to frame things like, oh, they're just getting a tax break for the richest people. The reason why working class voted for Trump is because they understand this. They understand that Elon Musk and Donald Trump understand the policies that are going to help the majority of American people, not the global elites and not your political agenda, AOC. But it gets worse. AOC further shows how disconnected she is from the true American people and values.
All of this debate that people are talking about with this woke thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's because we care about trans people, and that's why.
And by the way,
backlash.
only Donald Trump cared about trans people because he was the one running $130 million worth of ads.
Only Donald Trump cared about trans people. That'll be the next ads. Okay. He cared about the fact that we were spending American tax dollars when people, again, are dying in the street of fentanyl. People can't afford groceries. People are getting denied their benefits because illegal immigrants are getting the benefits of SNAP and all these other things. And yes, he was saying, we don't have the money to pay for criminals to get sex changes in prison. Why are we paying for that? That's insanity, and exposing how far radical these people have become. That is what we were paying for instead of our fellow American who's dying in the street. Instead, we're encouraging more people to come in to increase the fentanyl, increase the crime. It doesn't make sense. But if you say that you don't like that, then you're racist. Then you're the people that Joy Reid and AOC attack. And this is why they'll never get it. But hold on, we're not to the worst part yet. This is in a moment going to reveal what AOC really thinks of her supporters and how disconnected she is, and the piece that she is totally missing when she does this experiment of talking to her supporters to try to figure out why her supporters voted Trump. She misses the whole experiment entirely. But first, let's see really how disconnected she is and what she thinks of her supporters. Watch this.
Harris campaign said nothing about this issue.
That's right. That's right. And listen, the ads, it's not to even deny the fact that these ads were effective in certain areas. What I think people are paying too much attention to is the first half of that ad, which says Kamala Harris is for they, them. Everyone's focusing on that. They're not focusing on the second half of that ad, where he said, Donald Trump is for you. And Democrats
Look at Joy Reid with her eye roll. And that's the part that the millions of people that you guys hate, the millions of Americans who voted for Trump, including some of your supporters, that's why they voted Trump, because he is for you. He is for the people. He even is for you, Joy Reid, to be able to talk smack about him. Your life is even going to be better because of a Trump administration. Your life is even going to be better, AOC. But what's going to stop is the destruction of America. Do these people really just hate America? Is that what it is? It gets worse.
Often in their messaging, they speak and in terms and in concepts and not in the second person. I care about you. And political races are not about one candidate versus another candidate. Too often it gets pigeonholed like that. It is a race to convince a person about who cares about you more.
Let me ask you this question, because we've been talking a lot about RFK Jr. My mind is a bit blown. We knew that Donald Trump would go wild. There's no constraints on him. He could just put all his friends in. But we're talking about RFK Jr. and the possibility of people pulling back on measles vaccines, on another pandemic happening. You're talking about Matt Gaetz. There's a 17-year-old girl out there terrified that all of her records, all of the witnesses.
Look at AOC. I know. Okay, first of all, I just have to pause for a moment here because he is not implementing all of his friends. You know how many friends Trump lost because they were exposed when he started running for politics? The fact that she can even say this when half of his friends were in Hollywood and they were singing about him, dancing about him, having him on all the shows, they all loved him, and then they turned on him like this. It's not about him implementing his friends. He's implementing the best people for the jobs. And it's amazing to me that they are so about my body, my choice and all this stuff. But then when it comes to putting chemicals in your body, a jab that you don't know about, anything like that, then they think you have to have that. They're against RFK Jr., who is for healthy food and appropriate medication, putting a reins on big pharma, and they're so scared of it. Look at, oh my gosh, I know we could be healthy. We could actually help Americans. Oh my gosh, could you imagine? Look at her, devastated.
Against him in this case where she was trafficked could be in the hands of Matt Gaetz, and he could be the most powerful law enforcement official in the country in a case where the president of the United States is an adjudicated sexual abuser. If you're a sexual assault survivor, you're thinking, oh my God, this country is out to get me. They're out to get me and force me to have children by sexual assault. So the message.
No, see, they have that all wrong. It's amazing that they're still on the air, that they can say these lies and never be fact checked, because it's absolute lie and propaganda. And the fact that they just can, again, smear campaign and have defamation of character on somebody makes it the truth for them is a very scary, dangerous thing. And it's the only reason that they hate him. If you start listening, him or any of his cabinet, the only reason that they can hate them are the lies. Pay attention to that. They're never the facts. They're never the truth, because that is reasons to love them. But the hate all comes from lies, whether they actually believe these lies or whether they're trying to perpetuate the lies and get people to believe it. I don't know. Which one is it, do you think? We still haven't gotten to the part where you really find out what AOC thinks of her supporters.
To women has been insane. The people he's nominating are TV hosts, et cetera. Do you think the people who voted for him that you've talked to were expecting this?
No.
Or true mass deportation?
Genuinely, no. And it's heartbreaking, actually. It is heartbreaking. And people may want to take a vengeful stance about this, but it is genuinely heartbreaking. People need to understand that there are people, millions of people in this country, and I was one of them, where you are working 2-3 shifts a day.
Here is the part where you realize that she's so disconnected, and the part that she misses in her entire experiment and what she really thinks of her voters. Are you ready? Here it comes. This is the bombshell right here.
Heartbreaking. People need to understand that there are people, millions of people in this country, and I was one of them, where you are working 2-3 shifts a day to try to make ends meet. You're not reading the newspaper every morning with a cup of coffee.
AOC is 35 years old. So maybe she had that once for a summer or something. Some of us, AOC, have been doing this for our whole lives. Don't tell us. This is how disconnected she is. She thinks that she knows because for one summer she had 3 jobs or something. And then the rest of the time she's been in government. No, AOC, you don't get it. And here comes the worst part. This is what she really thinks of her supporters.
You're not. And it's not to say that people are uneducated or uninformed or anything like that.
Sorry, one more time.
Vengeful stance about this, but it is genuinely heartbreaking. People need to understand that there are people, millions of people in this country, and I was one of them, where you are working 2-3 shifts a day to try to make ends meet. You're not reading the newspaper every morning with a cup of coffee. You're not. And it's not to say that people are uneducated or uninformed or anything like that, but like this is real life. This is real life. You got a baby on your hip and you've got 2-3 shifts to work in that day and you're just trying to make things work and you have such an overwhelm of information. And I actually think something that is different about this moment than I saw, whether it was 2020 or after 2016, is that almost like right the day after, people immediately said, were coming to me and saying, he's not actually going to do that, right?
Oh my gosh, because they were actually overjoyed. This is the part where she totally missed her entire experiment. The part where you have to listen, AOC. The part where you actually have to listen. If you ask people, why did you vote for me and Trump? And you hear the feedback was such that we thought that you guys were the outliers and you're for the working class. You missed it. You didn't listen because here you just insulted all those people. You just insulted me. I'm that mom with the kid on the hip, working my butt off all day long. And I read and I know what's going on in the world. It is insulting for you to say that all of the people who voted for Trump and you, I don't know why they voted for you, but to say that they're just totally uneducated and they don't read is insulting. The fact that millions of Americans voted for Trump is because they read, is because they've been getting the information, is because they were smart enough to look through all the propaganda of the entire mainstream media, the entire global elite conglomerate, the entire Hollywood movie-making machine that made Kamala Harris. They were able to be smart enough to weed through all of that and have the kids on their hip and work 95 jobs and try to make ends meet and be hit with all this gaslighting saying that crime is down when they see gunshots and assaults in the street and that inflation is down when they can't afford bread and milk. This is where you and Joy Reid and the rest of you with Trump derangement syndrome who think that people voted either for Trump or Kamala, when in fact they voted for policies, and they may happen to love Trump or hate him, but they voted because they voted for policies, and they voted because the majority of American people are smart, educated, hardworking, good people with good morals, with a good moral compass, who want a safe border because that protects everybody, who want to be able to provide for their family because they realize if they're providing for themselves and their family, they can give from the overflow. These are the things that you, AOC, completely missed. These are the things that you do not understand. These are the things, Joy Reid, that you will never understand when you're encouraging family to not talk to one another if they voted for safety, if they voted for the ability to be able to put food on the table, if they voted so that they could have their SNAP benefits and the illegal immigrant to not. And yes, anybody coming over the border illegally is illegal. And to create a safe environment for everybody and the melting pot that America is supposed to be, we need to have a safe pathway to citizenship. And that is what Trump has always campaigned on. And that's what we're going to get back to. That's what you guys have been missing, along with all the other rhetoric that you spew, because you're so focused on your Trump derangement syndrome and hating Trump. instead of loving the country. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you think AOC has totally missed a point and did not listen to her voters? Do you like AOC and Trump? Weigh in the comments below. And if you found value in this video, please do subscribe. They're also way over their heads crazy about the other cabinet picks, RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard. If you want to see those videos, please watch now.